5:30, and we will call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tate,
Present.
Councilmember Reyes,
You're muted.
Present.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Present.
Mayor Reyes.
Flores.
I'm sorry. Mayor Flores, I apologize.
Present. All right, we will now move into oral communications. This is the opportunity to address the City Council on any matter scheduled for closed session. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentaries shall be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone, please step forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name's David Harris with Consolidated Testing. And my home address, did you say my address?
At
3408 Highway 190, Springville. What I would like to address the council is the request for qualifications that was out a few weeks back from the city of Porterville. And what I'd like to point out is the process that they followed was a little confusing, where you had to go to a computer link, and I brought this up last 2 weeks ago. And from there, we did, and we got on the plan holders list, which we thought got us on there. Well, there was another process that went to this, the request for qualifications. So this document is pretty thick, and it's got a lot in it, and it says request for qualifications. But as you go to the next page, it goes in, it says request for proposal. So it contradicts itself. And the legal definition that, you know, if you want to look at the legal definition of request for proposal, it's a request for qualification is a document that asks potential suppliers or vendors to detail their background and experience providing a specific good or service. And then a request for proposal is a request, is a written request asking contractors to submit specifications and prices that fit the customer's requirements. So I have I can just pass these out here when I leave, the 2 pages, and it's confusing the way the document is put together because it goes back and forth between a request for qualifications for projects that aren't even out there yet. They're just services that are in the future. But when you read their document, it talks about projects that don't exist. So I'm asking that that be relooked at by the council. And then the other item is the City of Porterville Quality Assurance Program that was dated 2019 that still is in existence. And it's asking on page 2 that all the labs be under the correlation testing program. The materials lab shall be a participant in all of the following testing programs: the Astro Materials Reference Laboratory, which is AMRL, and the Cement and Concrete Reference Laboratory, CCRL, and the Caltrans Reference Samples Program. And of the 6 labs that were selected, I know that at least one of them doesn't meet these qualifications. So the selection process wasn't thoroughly looked at to allow labs to be considered when they don't fit those qualifications. And the whole idea behind this was to just select some labs and make a short list of qualified labs. And so at this time, I would just like you to review everything and reconsider resubmitting the document in more clear terms than how it's presented. And if I can give you, can I?
Please give it to staff, and they will give it to us.
I'll give them to you to look at it on page 2. I've got it highlighted where it talks about the labs.
Do you have one for each council member?
Yes.
Okay, you can leave it with staff because it would not be a decision that we would make
So here's
tonight.
those. And then
Thank
this
you.
is just an example of the accreditation program certificates, and you can go online and check the labs that have this. And if they don't have these accreditations, then they're not meeting the city's own criteria. But this document is just contradicting, and if you read through it, it's confusing, and we could not address it as it was put together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris.
Welcome. I'm going to leave these. These are more.
Did you want to leave more?
Yeah.
Thank
more
you.
items. So this is just, I didn't make a copy of the whole thing. This is just
Thank you.
full points. So consideration on this matter.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
I don't need 3 minutes, but I did want to mention that our business is located at 603 East Worth here in Porterville, and we've been in business in the city of Porterville since 1979. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to come on virtually?
No, Your Honor.
See that there are none, and we will now go into closed session.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are 4 items for closed session this evening. First, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator John Lawless and Patrice Hildreth, employer organizations, Porterville City Peace Officers Association, Management and Confidential Series, Porterville City Fire Employees Association, Public Safety Support Unit, Porterville City Firefighters Association, Fire Officer Series, and all unrepresented management employees. Item 2, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 1, Council's Legal Counsel, existing litigation, Reyes Soto v. California Department of Transportation et al., Sacramento County Superior Court Case Number 34-2022-003167008-CU-PO-GDS. Item 3, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 3, Council Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation, 8 cases in which facts are not yet known to potential plaintiff. And item 4, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 4, Council Legal Counsel, anticipated litigation, initiation of litigation, 1 case. Staff's report.
Thank you. It is 5:36. We will go into closed session.
you ready?
It is 6:36. We will reconvene open session and report on reportable action taken in closed session.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation or a moment of silence. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there someone that would like to come forward and lead an invocation? Please.
Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day, and we're thankful for all the blessings you pour out upon us daily. We're thankful that you bless the city of Porterville. And we pray, Father, that you'll bless all the first responders that work for the city and all the city employees and reward them for a job well done and protect them when they're serving. We ask, Father, that you bless the city council tonight as they make decisions on matters that come before them that will affect the citizens in the city of Porterville. We pray, Father, that the right, correct decision will be made that will help the city. We're thankful for everything, Father, and we pray that you'll be with us here tonight. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward on an invocation? If not, please be seated. This is the opportunity to address the City Council on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Please address all items not scheduled for public hearing at this time. Unless additional time is authorized by the council, all commentary shall be limited to 3 minutes. If you are here for the public hearings, items 11 and 12, please hold your comments until then, and you will be given the opportunity at that time. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? Please do so. Please state your name and address once again for the record.
David Harris, 603 East Worth Avenue, Porterville. I just wanted to add a little bit to what I talked about earlier in the closed section regarding the request for qualifications for materials testing services for the city of Porterville, a 5-year contract. And I wanted to point out that first of all, it was difficult to find this in the request for qualifications. And then when you read the RFQ, it talks about request for proposal, so it contradicts itself. So because of this and the fact that also the quality assurance program that the city has adopted that's dated 2019, it has specifications that a lab qualification must meet, and they're not even in this request for qualifications, not mentioned, and they should have been addressed as well. And furthermore, they have allowed, from what I understand, one lab that is not qualified to be on the list. And because of these reasons, I'm going to ask at this time that the package be rewritten, resubmitted as an RFQ only, not an RFQ combination RFP, and a new deadline and a submittal date be submitted, and just another opportunity to redo this and get it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Is there some, please?
David Horowitz, owner of Horowitz Jewelry. I'm here about the $1.8 million that you people seem to think you did a great thing for the city in distributing. Here's my problem. Of your $1.8 million, only 44 businesses were allowed in on that money. Of those 44 businesses, 27 shared $300,000, and that was it. 17 businesses, however, hit the friggin' jackpot. The Anvil, 47.5. Town and Country Market, $330,000. Grocery outlet, $145,000. Java Express, some little thing in the middle there, $60,000. Haba Sushi, $50,000. Thai Kitchen, 53, well, this is kind of weird because it's not 53 like it should be. I think somebody ate lunch on our ticket because it was $52,915.50. They were $100 gift cards. So where'd you get the $19.50 from? Okay, Stafford's, $61,000. El Tapatio, and yeah, if you had the word El in front of your restaurant name, you made bank. El Tapatio, $75,500. El Nuevo, oh, this is another one they had lunch at, $60,019.15. Don Vino's, $63,500. El Jacalito, I had to go find out who this was, $72,000. El Nuevo, $47,000. Subway, and Subway was the big winner, $126,500 went to Subway, where the rest of us got shit. Chingon's Bakery, $45,000, or Chonguito's Bakery, $45,000. El Tacarico, $75,000. China's Alley, $35,000. The Airway Cafe even got 15 grand. Oh, and the biggest one that amazed me was Poor Richards, who's under brand new ownership, but they're from your drug buddies from Haven. They got 25,000. Everybody on my block got money except one business, Horowitz Jewelry. Isn't that amazing? That's pretty incredible that you guys were so nice to us and did so much to help us merchants, that you distributed the money to a very few elite group. And then there's somebody named Rodriguez who got paid mileage, so maybe that explains some of it. It was very, very mismanaged, very unfair. You gave away a lot of money to a very few number of businesses, excluding the rest of us. Guess what? There are much more than 44 businesses in the city of Porterville. You could have distributed that money much more evenly, but you didn't. You chose favorites. I don't know how you picked them. Ask this gentleman, because he supposedly is the one clearing them. That's what we were told. So somewhere, somebody is not doing right for the city of Porterville. And this has been my complaint all along. You people do what you want to do to favor your friends. That's not what you're up there for. You're up there to take care of the city of Porterville. You're not. You're being very unfair. When $1.5 million goes to 17 businesses, and the two biggest winners were grocery stores that were never closed during the pandemic. They profited from the pandemic because we had to go buy groceries. We couldn't go to the restaurants. They got over $500,000 of the money. Pretty damn good. I wish you guys bring me $500,000. I wouldn't mind that in my store. When are you guys going to wake up and start being fair to the community? Your friends are not what it's about. You got up there to do a job. If you don't want to do the job, leave. It's pretty simple. Because quite honestly, we want you to be the right person. You're not being that person. You're being very unfair. I donate probably $40,000 a year to this town. I was denied a dime. You would think somebody who gives $40,000 a year away to your community might want to be given a little bit of this money.
Thank you very much. Is there someone else who would like, please?
Rock dealing address on record. Fernando. On the first two item, or the first item is one of the pages from the item 8, or excuse me, item 7 on the agenda. And the other one is an item dealing with item 8. I respectfully request that those two items be pulled for discussion. Under the park impact fees, you were given false information in the staff report. Park impact fees are not covered under the Mitigation Act. Park impact fees are covered under the GIMBY Act of 2015. Under that act, you aren't limited to the amount per annum that you can increase the amount of park fees. I gave you an exhibit of what I feel should be done as far as park fees. $1 a square foot for single family residents. You got people that live up on the hill that paid the same amount in park fees that somebody down here in 1,100 square foot house paid. That's not fair. So if everybody paid $1 a square foot, it would be fair. If you've got a developer that's building more than 50 homes, drop that to 75 cents a square foot for those homes if he guarantees that he's going to put in a pocket park. That would be an incentive for these developers to put in these pocket parks. Also, there's two different fees for multifamily residents. For single room bedroom, it would be one price. For each additional bedroom, you add a different $50. Also in mobile homes, if it's within a mobile home park, it's one price. If it's outside of a mobile home park, it's a little bit higher. The other item is the flyer for the Clary County Freedom Rally. The item on the agenda is listed as it's being sponsored by the Assembly of God Church. Looking at this flyer, it's a political rally. So are they violating their nonprofit status by having a political rally under a church's name? Also, they're going to have a potluck in a public function. Nowhere in the staff report is there a health certificate required. Just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, please come forward.
Patience Christensen, 1515 West Westfield Avenue. I just wanted to give a brief report on the Porterville Celebrates Reading event that happened on April 2nd at the Veterans Park. We had a total of 814 lanyards that were given to the kids that they turned in for free books, and we had 26 booths from the community, from the elementary schools, the high schools, the library, and the Porterville College as well. And so we were very pleased with how well this event had gone. We were not sure it was going to happen. It was kind of brought up in February, and with the sponsorship of the Porterville Optimist Club, we were able to kind of rally together and pull this off to make this a great community event. Many of you know Catherine May. She has been directing this Porterville Celebrates Reading for the last 8 years. Unfortunately, she is moving, and so has passed the torch to me to continue this literacy fair for our community. So I wanted to say thank you to the council for their support, and we have already picked a date for next year's PCR event, which is April 8th, and we look forward to seeing as many of our community there as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. Would someone else please like to come forward during oral communications? Please.
My name is Greg Meister, 1160 Jean Avenue. You know, just got thrown off topic here, but something we have to restore tradition in this town. It's something that I value. I love this city, and I'm going to fight like hell to restore tradition in this city. And so we've had from our Christmas parade to the Iris Festival being canceled, and here there are Americans, citizens of this town, trying to come together to have a freedom rally. And there are constituents that continue to attack, and like just the fact that this man just come out to try to sabotage this event a week before, it's pretty disgusting. And I've noticed that he has an agenda every time he comes here, and in my opinion, it's against the people. Here we are. This is an opportunity to have an event locally, right here at our park, and the paperwork's been done, as far as I know, and it just, it's part of the tradition of our city, in my opinion, is getting people together, because COVID has truly killed that. If there's one thing COVID did take out is citizens coming together and being one. And to try to use certain rules to cancel things, I see doers being regulated by non-doers, and it frustrates me. Bill, I believe it's Bill 481, and it's to military equipment for the police. I don't know if you guys already, I missed the last council meeting. It was for our police officers to receive money for K9 unit and some vehicles. Once again, I'm going to say our police officers have the hardest job in the community as far as serving the people, and we have to back them. And the way we back them is by financially supporting them, right? And so this Bill 481, where it says it's military equipment, you know, the drones are you're making a face, I don't know, I
No.
probably have the wrong bill.
No, that's okay, because I'm going to look it up. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I just,
Please go ahead.
yes, I think that, in my opinion, as a constituent, we have to back our police. Running out of time, I'll follow up later with what else I had. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Meister. Is there someone else that would like to come forward, please?
Good evening. I'm Gail Knuckles. I live at 13144 Road 216, and I'm here to talk about the animal shelter that you guys are going to spend $7.5 million on, which is 3 blocks from Main Street of Porterville. I don't understand why they're putting a animal shelter basically downtown. There's Myers Funeral Home, the museum, and the 2030 complex, or the apartments right across the street behind there. And I don't understand. You said it's going to be inside. You won't hear the dogs barking. I don't know. If anybody knows who I am, I know a lot about dogs and animals, and that is just not going to work in that location. And I don't know if you guys have ever considered, you want to spend $550,000 on a dog park, but you already have one at the complex out there at the sports complex. If you put that money in where the dog park already is, you could build a shelter there on the corner of West and 136, but you have a maintenance building that takes care of the park. That could be included in the animal shelter. That would be a better location for the animal shelter to be out in that area, not downtown Porterville. I mean, you can say you're going to have everything inside. If you have 50 or 60 dogs barking, I don't care how much insulation you have, you're going to hear them. Don Vino's going to hear them. Myers is going to hear them. The people in those apartment buildings are really going to hear them, and I can see them making major complaints, and you're going to spend all this money there to put that thing there. It's not in the right area. I'm so glad that you have the funds that you have to build the shelter, because obviously we need it in Porterville. I have never seen an animal shelter in 3 blocks from a city Main Street. I really wish you guys would consider a different location. You have the property out there at the sports complex, and I think you really can consider putting that out there. You already got the beginnings of the dog park already out there. It would be an ideal area to put it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there someone else? Please come forward. Is there someone else that would like to come forward under oral communications? Hi.
Brian Redford, 56 South Corona Drive. I just wanted to speak to the council and express appreciation, especially for this event here. It's difficult to receive criticism, but it's important for us to be able to have this forum to talk. It's come to my attention recently. I've kind of been out of the scene for the local politics recently. I've had positive experiences in the past advocating for those that were under my purview in my employment. I'm a social worker. I work with disadvantaged individuals, dialysis patients, people that need our help. I've seen some of the good things that the council's able to do. It's come to my attention recently that there's been some criticism on the lack of participation from people here in the city. And it's frustrating to see that. And I can imagine as a council, it's probably frustrating to not see a full council chamber here every day or see a lot of participants there on YouTube. And I wanted to speak for some of those people, if they'd allow me, and just letting you guys know we're kind of tired. At the end of the day, emotionally exhausted. Right now, I'm away from my kids. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to spend my time. But I'm here because I care. And there's so many people out there that care. But a lot of them are still working because it's still light out there. A lot of them are working in the restaurants and in the grocery stores that we go to that are open for us after our working hours are done. And so I want you to remember those people, that they care. Sometimes they don't know how to come up here and talk. And just think about them. And just because there isn't a really good concentration here doesn't mean people don't care. There's a lot to be done in a positive way, collaboratively. And just know that those without a voice, or maybe that don't know how to make their voice known, they still matter. And I know that you wouldn't be up here doing this if you didn't care. So think about some of those things, maybe before some of the comments are made about those that aren't attending. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there someone else? Please.
Bob Knuckles, 13144 Road 216, Porterville. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on the sports complex out there. I enjoy it every time I go by with all the kids playing and whatnot. You've got a beautiful parking lot, but what I'm here to tell you about is a lot of people will park along Scranton or Avenue 136, get out of their cars, and then have a short distance to go to sit down and watch the kids participate in the sports. And I drive that road all the time, and it's a very dangerous situation. The parents will get out, the kids are still in the car, and they swing a door open, and they come out onto the road, the county road. There's been some police surveillance out, or some participation with the Porterville Police Department, which is great. When there was some people out there, it was clear. They've got a beautiful parking lot right there next to the sports complex that everybody can park in. It's just the convenience of getting out of your car, getting your cold chest and your chairs, and walking over and watching the kids play. But I'm just so scared that someday there's going to be some child get out, and because everybody isn't as careful as some of us are about driving along there. But that's all it is just something to put in the think tank, and hopefully we can get something done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knuckles. Is there someone else that would like to come forward under oral communications?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Adonis Knuckles. I invited 854 Kanai Avenue. New projects that you guys are putting in, hearing about, but I'm just wondering, when we put these projects in, are we also putting in the budget for maintaining it, keeping them up to par? I know that some of them have been on the agenda, whatnot, but I just want to know, I just have that question. So when we go and we put our money into something new, are there monies for later on for, to maintenance it? I'm just wondering that question right there, so.
Adonis, leave your number with staff and they can call you.
Okay,
They can call
all right.
you
Thank
back
you
on
very
that.
much.
Please leave it with the staff. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? I would like to acknowledge that from the Tule River Tribal Council, Mr. Shine Nieto is here. Thank you for joining us this evening. The Vice Chairman, thank you so much. Is there anyone that is on virtually under oral communications?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please allow them in, have them state their name and address for the record.
We'll be taking a time out.
Hello?
Please. Hello, please.
You able to hear me?
I can hear you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Bennett, and I reside at 550 Dexter Avenue here in Porterville. I'm a new resident to Porterville and to the state of California. I have been emailing back and forth with Mr. Reyes regarding the condition of Dexter Avenue, and he suggested that I attend the city council meeting. So I did send him some photographs of the condition of the road, and he says that according to the report that it's just barely shy of what it needs to be in order to receive repairs, but there have been potholes filled upon potholes filled upon potholes filled. And as a disabled person, the ride on this short distance just to get off my street onto Villa is awful and torturous. I was hoping that maybe considering the roads are under consideration for repairs and Dexter Avenue wasn't on it, that at least maybe I could request that the city do a patch, like not a patch, but actually cut out the bad part and redo just that section. It's not a very long section, but it's really rough. In addition to that, there's apparently been repairs done in front of my home to the water lines that have caused dangerous elevations in the sidewalk and trip hazards for people that use the sidewalk in my neighborhood. People walk and bike, they take their dogs and their children, and I'm really concerned that someone is going to trip and fall and crack their head out in front of our house. So I would like the city to please consider this street as a part of what's coming up for repairs in the very near future. I would hate to see the city end up in a lawsuit over someone tripping on their sidewalks. I've done a little research and I'm told that what's out there is not my responsibility. But again, I don't want to see this come back or have to go out there and try to help somebody who's fallen, particularly the elderly that we have in this neighborhood. So I'm just simply trying to get the word out there and hope that maybe we can have the road crew come out and just cut that bad section out and at least get that done for now until we can get this road on a bigger list for resurfacing in the next fiscal year of, I think it's 24-25, because it's not on for 22-23. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Is there anyone else that would like to come on virtually for oral communications?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, see that there are no more. We will just move on to the AB 1234 reports. This is the time for all AB 1234 reports pursuant to Government Code 53232.3. The first one is the Tule River Improvement Joint Powers Authority. Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Your Honor. This meeting, the Tule River Improvement Joint Powers Agreement, is a quarterly meeting, so we don't hear about it too frequently. And what it deals with is channel clearing. So the first portion is channel clearing that I'll discuss, which I just wanted to report that the winter channel clearing has been completed and the final invoices for that have been sent out, and the fall channel clearing is being planned at this time, and that as a participant in this, there's no assessment being requested for us for that right now. And the second part that this deals with is the Success Reservoir Enlargement Project. Just a few points to update on that, property negotiations continue, that there are properties in escrow, as well as those that continue to be in negotiation. Also with this project is the relocation of some utility lines, some transmission lines, and The project is working with Edison to have those relocated. And also there's a second phase, which apparently is going to be awarded to the original low bidder for that project. There's been a report on the storage at the reservoir, which at the date of this meeting, which was April 4th, was about 25,000 acre feet. And so this project has been moving along, and I think anybody that's gone by there has seen the enlargement in the road that's been put up a little higher on the hill. There's a few more things that need to happen to make it complete, but I'll be back July 11th. It's a quarterly meeting, but the next meeting would have fallen on the 4th of July. So we will be holding the next meeting on July 11th. So I'll be back with a report on the progress, as well as information on channel clearings and any requests for assessment, should there be any at that time. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that report. The next one is the Local Initiatives Navigation Center. Councilmember Tate.
Yes, we have been meeting via Zoom. Link is essentially, we're talking about our clients, or our citizens actually, that don't have homes. So this group has come together, and we're one of the few in the state and in the county as far as putting this together. We meet virtually twice a month because we have people that participate that are from other cities within the county. We have a navigation system, I'm thinking of my car. We have a navigation center where our residents can go so that they can get meals, clothing. We have had some barbers and beauticians volunteering to provide haircuts. We have some clients that are living there we had like 15 beds, now we've increased to 30. And then we also have on the second Wednesday of each month, we have legal services. A lot of our residents don't have identification, so we have social services that are helping them with their IDs so that they can apply for Social Security and medical benefits. And, volunteers, money being donated is very helpful. Seems like that's always the issue. But a lot of us get out and actually go out and go to the encampments, and we do wellness checks, and we have partnered with someone from Porterville College that is involved in several different church groups. So we're open to anybody. You can all join us on Zoom. If you need any information, I'd be happy to share that with you. So that's tomorrow. We should be having another virtual meeting. So.
Thank you very much. The next one is the Eastern Tule Groundwater Sustainability Agency. Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Mayor. At that meeting, there were several action items that were tabled, including an item that I reported before for the CMIS weather station that was tabled to a future meeting, although there was one action item, which was to appoint Mr. Armando Leal, as a backup for a seat on the Stakeholders Committee. I wouldn't say it's quite an alternate, but it was, he was previously serving on the Stakeholders Committee, and there were other applicants, another applicant that was chosen, but according to the bylaws, there was the ability to choose a backup or a quasi-applicant, or alternate, excuse me, and so he was appointed to that position, and that was the only action item for that meeting.
Thank you very much. The next one is the Tulare County Association of Governments, Tcag, the Tule River Tribe ATP Plan Reservation Walking Audit of April the 8th, and I will be sharing that one. In attendance was the chairman, Neil Perrone from the Tule River Tribe, Honorable William Garfield as well, and Mr. Lawless and Jason Reidenauer from the city. From Tcag was Sheila Bongier, and from Four Creeks was Lisa Wallace and Roxanne Lee of Four Creeks. And my participation on there was as the Tcag vice chair and, of course, the mayor. Before we went on the walking audit, we discussed some of the existing needs and issues with the Tule River Tribal Council. And during the walking audit, we stopped in various locations. It included the $1 Million Bridge. We talked with pedestrians, and then we talked with the fire department. It included the swinging bridge. And I will tell you that I walked across it, and I'm glad that I did, because it is historical, and I know that it's been there for quite some time. And went through the South Reservation Road near the Justice Department, Cow Mountain, the bus stops, Public Works Road. After we went and discussed with students and staff regarding transit, with regard to Route 9 that had been shut down since COVID and the pandemic. Currently, there is no public transit to Porterville available from the tribe to Porterville, and it's been private vehicles with family and friends. It is anticipated that Route 9 will start in the fall of 2022. Existing uses and behaviors was brought to the table, and transportation modes included the horses, the quads, the bikes, the walking motorcycles. The residents use an informal dirt trail along the southern edge of the Tule River to avoid the road. The trail used for a cattle trail. Residents use the pedestrian-only swinging bridge to cross between the north and south Reservation Road. It is the only crossing point between the Silver Bridge to $1 Million Bridge. It is an informal suspension bridge with wooden planks. Some of the issues were discussed. Existing speed bumps could be replaced, safer pedestrian crossing, the talk of the existing swinging bridge should be replaced, a new pedestrian bridge, the probability to connect Cow Mountain Road to the Justice Building. The demographics up on the reservation, there are approximately 1,527 with a high young population. Approximately 500 families are waiting for homes. Projects with Department of Public Works, developing to improve, to install sidewalks. The Tule River Tribal Council is developing an improvement project to regrade Cow Mountain Road. With regard to the infrastructure, the drought has impacted their water resources. The water is estimated to run out by the summer of 2022. The groundwater has a high nitrate level due to natural causes. During the Southern California Edison brownouts, there's no power to pump the wells. During the high heat days, there are cooling centers at the Justice Center and at the Elder Building. When there was discussion with pedestrians, we stopped and we talked to them. They put an emphasis on their needs of street lights, how they need sidewalks for the main loops connecting the North and South Reservation Road. They did emphasize that the dogs were an issue. There were too many that were running loose. The discussion with the fire department on that day, they talked about, they have reciprocal response, mutual agreement with Tulare County for fire response. The priority should be on improving the pedestrian connection between the education center and the gymnasium. Parking in the area blocks the visibility of pedestrians. Discussion with the students and staff at the education center to have the students involved and engaged in some of the necessities. Some of these students go to the education center when they are dropped off from attending school, and they are there for maybe 2 or 3 hours when they get home from school. So from there, the students are either picked up to go home from their parents when they get off work, and some of them have to walk a long way to get to their homes. Amazing, because the students were just willing to share what was a part of what was going on. They did say that the streetlights were needed. They did share that they did cross the swinging bridge numerous times just to have access so they could get to the bus station. There will be a follow-up item. There will be traffic collision data requests for the planners, and that a survey would be going out. That survey has already gone out, and I want to say it was a very humbling experience to be a participant on this audit, this walking audit, and an educational experience. And I was very grateful to be a part of it. That concludes that report. The next one is the Tcag, California Transportation Commission Town Hall. This has been over 2.5 years in the making. I want to say maybe up to 3 years to be able to have the California Transportation Commissioners all in attendance with the exception of 2, to be a part of the town hall that is all related to transportation. It was several agencies, Caltrans, Board of Supervisors from the Merced County area, Board of Supervisors from Tulare County, Tcag representatives, you had school districts, and you had the staff from the California Transportation Commission, and also representatives from Senator Shannon Grove's office, Senator Hurtado's office, Congressman McCarthy's, Assemblyman Devin Mathis, and this was a 4.5-hour town hall. What was brought to the table were how the College of the Sequoias were working on a transit pass for their students and for the neighboring area as to how they could get to school and surrounding areas. And with the school districts, other school districts were invited to participate and share the projects of concern. These are county-wide and surrounding area projects that all relate to transportation. We had a representative there that brought to the table the partnership with affordable housing. There was partnering with the private side. These are members from the communities that were actually involved on a journey. I want to say before COVID, we made the trip farm to market to Washington, D.C., and we carried the platform for Tcag. And the gentleman that participated on that as the private side was made the journey and was there because he represented the agriculture area for that. Caltrans was there and Tcag, how they partner with the Caltrans portion of transportation and the Tcag portion and how they work together. These projects are beyond Tulare County. They are pretty much statewide, which is why the commissioners that were there came to Tulare County to hear what we had to carry. Then there was the bike and pedestrian projects. Visalia and Porterville were the ones that carried the torch on that with regard to all the projects in Visalia and Porterville. And then there was a visioning with the Cross Valley Rail. The tribal partnership and the Porterville area, that was Mr. Lawless and I taking the information to the commission, and it was good that we had the walking audit, that we were able to present not just that partnership, but the partnership that we are the first in the state of California to have a partnership with the Tule River tribe on that. And they listened, they engaged, and the outcome of that dialogue was to visit up to the reservation, and hopefully we can make that connectivity. The emphasis from people who were representing beyond Tulare County was the completion of 99 and how people were there to finish the 99 project. The coalition was there, and how certain areas of the 99 have been dangerous, and the commissioner stated that they did drive it. And again, presenting the projects, trying to find where those funds are, and hopefully they will carry some of that so that we can access from some of those funds as well and go from there. That concludes that report for the town hall meeting. The Water Commission of April 11th was canceled, so there is nothing to report. The Casino Relocation Committee, that was one that we got the information after the meeting had started, so if there was no one in attendance. And we will now, the Tulare County Association of Governments, I will carry that one over. We met yesterday, so that one I will carry over to the next council meeting. The Tulare County Regional Transit Agency, Councilmember Stowe.
Thank you, Your Honor. We met yesterday as well at 6 p.m. virtually. And board directors that were in attendance was Caldil Tusu, Steve Garver from the city of Exeter, and Dr. Tusu from the city of Dinuba, Ramona Caldillo from the city of Lindsay, Joe Sangala, the chair with the city of Tulare, and myself. And of course, Richard Tree, the director, was there, and the county council attended. They had two action items. One was the first was the notice of intent to award a transit operation services, a third party. On November 15th, the board met, and the board of directors authorized the staff to advertise for requests for proposal for independent contractor to provide management, supervision, and technical, personal, operation, and technology services necessary for a daily operation for Tulare County Transit Authority. An evaluation committee was established and comprised of qualified and experienced transit professionals and has completed its evaluation of proposals to select the offerer. The selection committee evaluated the proposal based on the criteria stated in the RFP. Selection for the award was based on the following process. It was determined responsiveness of proposer, determine responsible proposer, determine ranking based on evaluation matrix points rated by the evaluation committee, identify the proposals with the fall within the competitive range, which would be those proposals that were responsible, and which total points for the evaluation matrix are clear leaders amongst the proposals. And the last two was requests for the best and final offers and necessary for those in the competitive range, and recommend that all awards on the best value of those within the competitive range. And the evaluation committee came up with 4 qualified members, and they ranked them in this order. It was Transdev Service Incorporated, First Transit, National Express, and MV Transportation. And they recommended that the board would authorize staff to issue a notice of intent to award the contract to Transdev Services. They were the lowest or the best, and they will negotiate a contract with them that would be brought back to the board on May 16th for acceptance, if that's possible. And the next action item, the second and only, last and final, accepting the appropriation of $3 million of surface transportation block grant program funding for zero emissions and related charging infrastructure. And that's $3 million, and they will replace all the old vehicles that they have and replace them with the low emissions vehicle. And that was also voted on and passed, and they will receive and accept that $3 million. If you have any questions,
Yeah, anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your report. We will now go into the reports. This is the time for all committee, commission, board reports, subcommittee reports, and staff informational items. Park and Leisure Services Commission? Do we have anyone on virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Library and Literacy Commission?
I'm going to change the order that I normally give the presentations because I also promised you good news. And I'm going to fulfill both of those. Our highlights for March with the virtual story time, which is every Tuesday morning, and if you go on Facebook, you can't miss it. Believe me, I see it sometimes. We had 594 English Storytime viewers and 588 Spanish Storytime viewers for a total of 1,182 for the month. Staff continues processing books, and so far it's 28,414 library materials. We're getting ready to open. Virtual Book Club continues, and I don't know if anybody has participated in it, but the book selection for March was Educated by Tara Westover, and it takes place the first Thursday of every month at 4 p.m. via Zoom, and as members you receive a new book, so I encourage people who like to read and talk about it. This is a wonderful thing. Libraries Park and Go, which is right across the street every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 11 to 3, continues, and they had 361 patrons and 1,876 honor checkouts for the month. The library attended a Read Across America event that was held on March 2nd, hosted by the Parenting Network. And it was attended by 25 adults, 27 kids visited the library booth and had an opportunity to spin the wheel to win something. Veronica and Karina continue showcasing our learning mobile, and I don't know how many of you have seen that cute little thing, but in case you don't know, April 30th it's going to be in the parade. And they're making it available. They visit the different schools. The first visit was April the 8th at Oak Grove, and they do a story time, craft, educational kits, things like that for the kids. The vaccine roundup, I think it's pretty much terminated. It's ended. Again, we have our California state tax booklets and the federal 1040 SR available. On our learning literacy thing, the ESL class, 14 students wrote a paragraph on either Ramadan and Easter holidays. And Dia de los Niños will be Saturday, April 30th from 10 to noon, and I have a flyer if you want it. And like I said, the parade will be there. Now, the good news, furniture came in last week. If anybody's like me, you know that I'm the one who says, God, give me patience right now. Well, we can't go interfere, but we can go peek in the windows. And if you'll notice, we have screens up in the windows that are really nice, but you can see in there. And just to see how far they were, I went there this afternoon while I was running my errands, and I'm watching them unpack the furniture and get things. They're unpacking them and putting them at the back, but it started. It's a reality. It's happening. There's only one little hiccup, and I'm sure Donnie and Vicki will make sure that that gets taken care of, and that's with the fiber optics. But we're looking. It's coming. It's close. And I don't know about you, but I can hardly wait to walk in there and order a book through the system. So if any of you have any questions, I'm excited. about this, and I hope you are. And now I'm going to go home, sit in my recliner, and watch you guys on my TV, which I
Thank
do
you.
every meeting. And I
Thank you.
watched you guys last week, and I was amazed at how many people were not in attendance.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone from the Arts Commission? They didn't meet. Animal Control Commission? Youth Commission? Tcag? Okay. Staff informational reports.
Just the one, Your Honor, which is a monthly report, which provided a water conservation status update for the prior month of March 2022, which showed a 5% increase in water production over the 2013 baseline year. Cumulative savings are still at 24%, just short of the 26% goal set by the city. There were 8 notices of violations issued and 1 administrative citation. Happy to answer any questions or provide further information.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No questions? Thank you. All right, we will now move on to the consent calendar. All consent calendar items are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made, in which event the item will be removed from the consent calendar. All items removed from the consent calendar for further discussion will be heard at the end of scheduled matters. Council.
Your Honor, I'd like to pull number 7, if that's possible.
Okay. Well, number 7.
I would like to pull number 6.
Pull number 6 for discussion tonight.
Well, what I wanted to do was recommend or request that we move that to a future meeting under scheduled matters so that the council has time to review and discuss. It's a policy for the Fallen Heroes Memorial Wall, but I wanted the council to have the opportunity to provide feedback or ask questions regarding that since it's a policy.
I don't have a problem with pulling it off and bringing it to another council meeting for discussion.
I don't either.
We can do that. So item number 6 will be completely pulled and brought back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and number 7, we will pull and put under scheduled matters. Any other items, council? Okay, then I will seek a motion from items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10. Council? Is there a motion for those items?
Your Honor, I make a motion that we approve items 1 through 5, 8, 9, and 10.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table,
I'll second.
and we have a second. Call for the vote, please. Because we have Councilmember Reyes on virtually, so we have to call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Tate? Councilmember Reyes?
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Carrillo?
Aye.
Mayor Flores?
Aye. Passes unanimous. Thank you very much. 5-0. All right, we will now move on into the public hearings. Number 11.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 2 public hearings that have been scheduled for this evening. The first is the Community Development Block Grant Substantial Amendment to the 2021-22 Action Plan, and Mr. Ridenhour will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Honorable Mayor and City Council. As an entitlement grantee, the City of Porterville receives federal Formula Community Development Block Grant funds, also known as CDBG, through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, referred to as HUD. This entitlement provides the city with an annual direct grant to provide decent, affordable housing, suitable living environment, and to expand economic opportunities primarily for low and moderate income persons and households. A substantial amendment is triggered whenever one of the following is proposed: either a change in allocation priorities or a change in the method of fund distribution, or a substantial change which increases or decreases the amount of allocated to a category of funding within the city's entitlement grant programs by 25%, or to implement an activity using CDBG funds for new programs that were not described in the consolidated plan, or to change the purpose or intended beneficiaries of an activity approved for CDBG funding. An amendment for the 2021-2022 CDBG Action Plan, which was approved on April 20th, 2021, is being proposed. The funding recommendations made by the city's CDBG Citizens Advisory and Housing Opportunities Committee are being presented tonight. The recommendations are based on feedback received through the various outreach conducted, including community survey, community meeting, public hearing, meeting, virtual and in-person meetings, outreach events through partner agencies that serve low to moderate income households. The substantial amendment to the action plan being proposed to add activities for repayment, early repayment of the Section 108 loan, that's for the Heritage Center, to reallocate 2016 entitlement funds from Small Business Assistance Program and the Large Business Assistance Program to the Section 108 Loan Repayment Program and the Parks Improvement Program respectively, and to reprogram 2020 funds back to the Large Business Assistance Program. The substantial amendment is necessary as the sale at the Heritage Center has not been finalized and the proceeds from the sale are not yet available to fund the multi-sport field activity and the repayment of the Section 108 loan, which funded the construction of the Heritage Center. As the sale of the Heritage Center was not completed, funds needed to be allocated to other activities to ensure the funds are utilized in compliance with HUD regulations, including making the Section 108 payment. The youth center did not operate due to COVID-19 restrictions, requiring a need that the funding also had to be reallocated as well. The curb gutter and sidewalk program is still underway, and a second project has not been identified as the first project is underway. So those additional funds are requesting to be reallocated. The committee made a recommendation to add additional activity to pay the Section 108 loan payment that is due in the 2022-2023 ahead of schedule, and upon the sale of the Heritage Center, a portion of those proceeds can be used to replenish the programs that funds were being recommended to be moved from for the amendment there that is needed. Lastly, there is a need to reallocate the 2016 entitlement funds to meet expenditure deadlines and remain in compliance. As HUD has modified rules over the years, and so one of the things is you're only allowed to have entitlement funds for so long until they expire. And so what this is doing is using those funds in a manner that would allow us to have a longer lifespan of the funding available. This brings the total amount of reallocation to just over $605,000. A detailed description is available as an attachment. Staff's available for any questions.
Thank you very much for the report. Does council have any questions? No questions at this time? Okay, I will open up the public hearing. It is 7:39. Is there anyone that would like to come and comment for public hearing? Do we have any on this item?
There was a Greg Meister, excuse me. There was a handicapped woman earlier talking about her road in District 4, I believe, Monte Reyes District, that he said come to a city council meeting. If we have that $605,000, maybe that's a way we could push that money to fix a road here locally in our town that's bad. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I'm sitting here thinking. I know Brock's got his opinion. He'll let us know here.
Thank you, Mr. Meister. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward?
At this appropriate time, but I still would like the city council to reconsider where they're putting that animal shelter. No city in Tulare County has a dog pound 3 blocks from the main street of Porterville. When you have all that property out there at the airport, which is you already have a dog park out there. And I'm telling you, if you spend $550,000 for a dog park here in the city limits, you know who's going to be sleeping in it at night? The homeless.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak to the item on the public hearing? Do we have anyone virtually with regard to the public hearing, item number 11?
No, Your Honor.
It is 7:41. We will close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Council, how do you wish to proceed? Do you have any questions of staff?
I do. Mr. Meister just stepped up and said that we could possibly fix a road on Dexter with some of this money. Is that possible? Is this money dedicated to a certain area, a certain part of town, or?
So, Councilmember Stowe, you're correct. So up on the screen, you can see eligible census tracts at which CDBG funding can be spent. Every 5 years was called a consolidated plan, is adopted by the city council, and within that lays out the 5-year expenditures in the action plan, which you're seeing requested be amended this evening for this public hearing, and the action plan for next fiscal year on the next public hearing item goes through and plans that immediate year funding with the programs. So the city council adopted a consolidated plan and an action plan with a curb gutter sidewalk program. So there is a current program that assists in funding curb gutter sidewalk in areas of the affected census tracts that are low to moderate income. As far as road construction and repair, that is not a program of community development block grant of CDBG, and that you know, we could review it as my understanding in looking through the legislation and the code is that would be considered maintenance, and so maintenance isn't allowed to be used, general maintenance of city facilities with community development block grant funds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Reyes, did you have any questions?
No, I didn't. I was going to mention what Councilmember Stowe did, but we've already received the answers, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Tate, do you have any questions or any comments? No? Vice Mayor?
No questions.
I have no questions and no comments, and I want to thank the input that we received tonight. How does council wish to proceed with this item?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution approving the proposed substantial amendment to the 2021-22 action plan and direct staff to submit the amendment to the action plan to HUD.
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Tate,
Aye.
Councilmember Reyes,
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Aye.
Mayor Flores.
Aye. Passes unanimous, 5-0. We will now move on to the next public hearing, item number 12.
Thank you, Your Honor. Second public hearing is similar to the first in that you've just done an amendment to the 21-22, and so now you'll be looking at the 22-3 action plan, community development block grant. And again, Mr. Ridenour provides staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Honorable Mayor and City Council, as noted in the last public hearing, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD, requires all community block grant entitlement cities to prepare a 3- or 5-year consolidated plan. The Porterville's 2020 5-year consolidated plan was adopted by the City Council on April 21st of 2020 and subsequently submitted to and approved by HUD. This action plan reflects the 3rd year of investment plan with the scope of the consolidated plan. Action plans are required to be submitted to HUD 45 days prior to the start of the program year. HUD has sent out a memo, though, this year informing entitlement jurisdictions that Congress has not completed the appropriations process for HUD's fiscal year 2022 appropriation. At this time, HUD cannot predict when its fiscal year 2022 appropriations bill will be enacted and when it will be able to announce the 2022 allocation amounts. Thus, HUD cannot say how many grantees or which program year start dates will be subject to the revised procedures. Similarly, HUD cannot provide estimated fiscal year 2022 allocation amounts for grantees to use for planning and developing the annual actions plans. Despite allocations not being announced yet, the city is still required to go through the mandated process, but may delay its submission of the consolidated plan or action plan to HUD within 60 days after the allocations are announced, or until August 16th of 2022, whichever comes first. The delay will give grantees time to revise its actions plans to incorporate the allocation amounts and to conduct any additional citizen participation necessary. So as we go through this plan, as you'll see, staff utilized prior year allocation amounts as we have historically in conducting the plan when we have this process. The action plan identifies activities that the city would undertake during the next year to address the priority needs of lower income households. Proposed activities are designed to benefit lower income households by maintaining affordable housing, achieving public housing improvements, removing barriers to affordable housing, evaluating and reducing lead-based hazards, reducing the number of households with incomes below poverty line, improving job availability, and enhancing the institutional structure to address the needs of lower income households, addressing obstacles to meeting underserved needs, and enhancing coordination between the public and private housing and social service agencies. The action plan presents ongoing proposed CDBG-funded programs for the fiscal year beginning of July 1, 2022 through the June 30th of 2023. Staff used last year's entitlement grant, as I mentioned, of $868,243 to draft the budget for the action plan for a variety of programs and projects accompanied by program income generated by the first-time homebuyer program, the owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program, the public utility program, and the business assistance loan program. The categorical amounts are listed in the staff report as well as in the attachments. And so the total funding we based it off of was $868,243, as I mentioned earlier. On February 10th, 2022, the first community meeting was held to bring recommendations and comments from the community before the CDBG Citizens Advisory and Housing Opportunity Committee. On March 14th, 2022, the committee held its first public hearing to consider proposed projects for the action plan. The committee unanimously recommended approval of the proposed action plan. Public notices were published in both English and Spanish for the aforementioned public hearing. Public notice was also published in both English and Spanish, announcing a 30-day comment period, which ends today. No written comments were received from the public prior to writing the staff report. However, discussions that took place during the community meeting are included in the draft action plan under the section AP-05, section 5, summary of public comments. Staff's recommendation is that the City Council adopt the draft resolution approving the 2022-2023 annual action plan and direct staff to submit the 2022-2023 action plan to HUD. Staff's available for any questions.
Thank you. Council doesn't have any questions. I will open up the public hearing. It is 7:49. I am opening up the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to come forth on this item? Is there anyone that is on virtually that would like to come forth on this item?
No, Your Honor.
It is 7:49. We will close the public hearing and bring it back to council. How does council wish to proceed? Council?
I move that we adopt the draft resolution approving the 2022-23 action plan and direct staff to submit the 2022-23 action plan to HUD, please.
Thank you. We have a motion on the table,
I second.
and we have a second. No further discussion. Please call for the vote.
Councilmember Tate,
Aye.
Councilmember Reyes,
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe. Aye. Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Aye.
Mayor Flores.
Aye. Passes unanimous, 5-0. We will now move into the scheduled matters.
Your Honor, if
Yeah.
we may, do you mind if we take a 3-minute break?
3-minute break. I tell you what, it is, we'll do 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we will take a quick break
Feeling a little
before we go
woozy.
into the next item. Please, go ahead. Next, we will call the meeting back to order. And we will now move on to the scheduled matters. Thank you. We will now move on to the scheduled matters.
Thank you, Your Honor. There'll be 3 scheduled matters before the City Council this evening. The first would be consider a draft resolution and letter of support for the Tule River Tribe's water settlement legislation. As indicated in the staff report, after nearly 30 years of advocacy, the Tule River Tribe successfully settled its water rights in November of 2007 in the signing of a settlement agreement with water users on the South Fork of the Tule River. That agreement.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I apologize, but Vice Mayor is out by conflict.
I apologize. I have it in my notes. I apologize.
I did. You may go ahead.
My apologies, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize for the oversight on that. Again, after nearly 30 years of working through that, the Tule River Tribe successfully entered into a settlement agreement of its water rights with the other users on the South Fork of Tule River in November of 2007. That settlement agreement secured a domestic, municipal, industrial, and commercial water supply for the tribe. Since 2007, the tribe has been seeking federal legislation to ratify the settlement agreement and authorize appropriations to develop the water rights in the creation of water infrastructure and reservoirs on the Tule River Reservation. Legislation was introduced in the House and Senate in 2007, 8, and 9, and did not pass. And that initially was brought by Congressman Nunes at the time. The tribe continues to work with Federal Bureau of Reclamation on necessary studies for the feasibility and design for the tribe's water storage. And as they continue that effort, they've asked for updated letters of support, as well to Senator Feinstein and now Congressman McCarthy, as well as an updated resolution of support. We have with us this evening Vice Chair of the Tule River Tribe, Vice Chair Nieto, who could perhaps actually provide better history than I did just in that cursory review. So if the council would be so inclined.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Just wanted to come here and tell you, Madam Mayor, and the rest of your people that we thank you guys for everything you're doing for us with your letters, with the support, and on behalf of the tribe and our council and our people, we want to put out our hand to you and thank you guys for everything you guys did for us, from the past to the future that we're going into, with our water bill, we back in 1922 when it first started, 100 years ago, when we moved to this third reservation up here where we're at now, we had a guy that was in charge of us savages, and so he gave away our water rights to back then. And in 1971, our chairman at the time, Alec Garfield, went to Sacramento for a meeting to start our water rights bill. And so it's been going on for years. We've been through 3 water bill rights where they've been shot down in Congress and D.C. So hopefully this one's going to go through this time for our water to produce up there so we don't run dry. When you guys went dry in the east side of Porterville, you guys made national news in the city. We run out of water every year on the reservation, and we don't even make it in your local paper. So we thank you guys for everything that you guys are doing to step up to help us in any way you can, and for the city of Porterville, you guys people too. Without having anybody trying to go against us or whatever, but we're just trying to get this water rights bill passed so we can get water to ourselves, plus to our downstream users that have been having this water since 1922. We're not able to, we could have a glass here today, but we're not able to fill one up for tomorrow. That's how bad our water rights is. So if I filled up 2 glasses and saved one for you tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to drink it. I wouldn't be able to use it. Someone could come and take it from me, because that's how much we don't have our water rights. So we just want some water for our housing just like you guys do down here. And we want our water for drinking and for our animals, you know, because we were kind of put up there to die, you know, in the rocky areas. You've seen where we come from, and I mean, so we were farmers, and so now there's no farming land up there. I mean, so that's just a genocide in itself, you know. But like I said, I'm here to say thank you on behalf of the tribe, half of our council, and half of our people. You know, all of our people up there that you guys are doing this for us and stepping up for us, you know, and that we can continue to have really good relations with each other as we move forward in the future.
Thank you very much for that, those comments. They are appreciated.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now,
If you guys have any questions, other questions, I could answer them, or anybody in the audience wants
well,
to
there
ask
would be
any.
questions would be up here for us. So I appreciate your comments, and we're going to have the discussion amongst us, and then we'll go from there. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.
You guys have a good night.
I did have one question. Because I
Please.
wasn't able to find, is, the initial legislation asked for $3 million in appropriation to complete the studies and do design. I mean, it was really just to do the studies to underscore that. Is that the same appropriation that's being sought, or I couldn't find that information?
Yeah, there's been numerous studies already. Like, this is our third time around. Every time Congress changes, in DC, and then our assemblymen's change up there in Sacramento, we have to start all over again. So this is like our fourth bill, you know.
Yeah.
And every time it takes money from the tribe to do it, you know. So it's always another start, every time we have to start over. I mean, and it's the same study. It seems like they could just go off the old one because it's still the same river. It's all dried up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, where we have our headwater up in the redwoods up that way, towards that way, where we come from. But by the time it gets down to my house where our old dam is, we have a water marker that measures our water, and it's probably from me to the screen dry, so it don't measure nothing. It's just there. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's that's how dry it's been all the time. And then now, like where our main swimming hole is, where the painted rocks is. I know you guys are familiar with the Bigfoot drawings and the paintings. That river, that's our main swimming hole, and it goes completely dirt sometimes now. You know, so yeah. And you know, I never thought I'd have to go on the Springville side to swim if I wanted to swim, but you know, that's usually the case. You know, but I don't like to go over there too much either, because then we end up picking up bags of trash from the people that come from other places. You know, so some people just don't know how to live. You know what I mean?
Well, I just raised that because that was the number that was 15 years ago, and you know, I'd be curious what because there's a reservoir to be, because the water allocation in the settlement agreement is about 6,000 acre feet, which is what the city produces annually about in our wastewater. Actually, it's more than that. So that just gives you the scale of what the settlement agreement is and what they'd be able to draw into a reservoir and then treat for water. As you're aware, the tribe has a moratorium for new building. That was one of the major considerations of the casino relocation, was to allow additional water for housing, which I think you've got about 40, almost 20, well, we'd heard from Chair Prone, you know, 20 units currently in consideration of planning.
23 up on top of the mountain. Yeah. So mostly all our mountain, all our areas are mountain areas. It's not, there's not too much flat land anymore. So most of the flat land's already habitated by other housing. So we're starting to go up on top of the mountains, and now you gotta do pumps to pump the water up there, and so it's a little bit more and more every time. I mean, then when you don't got no water to pump, you can't do nothing anyways. So you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so the city's support of this has been, they have the settlement agreement that was executed by all the affected individuals. So it's really just looking for given that it's federal lands or under federal jurisdiction, then you need the federal appropriation to complete the studies and to be able to do the improvements that have already been agreed to. Just it needs the necessary legislation.
Yeah, then we went to Washington to talk to the people over there in the House and stuff over there in Congress, and then they're agreeing with, some of them are agreeing with us, and then they want the state to do something, so now we gotta go to Sacramento and, do the dance with them up there, and then go back to DC with whatever we have from the state, and so it's a pretty, big dance, I guess you could say, But, when you're used to dancing, you gotta dance, so,
Your Honor, the tribe's legal counsel is also on Zoom, and
Oh, okay,
Charmaine McDermott.
okay. I see a hand raised over here.
yeah, that's her.
Please.
Good evening, honorable members of the Porterville City Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I just wanted to answer the question about the $3 million appropriation. In 2007, 8, and 9, that's the number that the tribe was seeking for a feasibility study for the reservoir on the reservation. Since that time, there have been numerous studies done. The most recent was a technical study, and then also a study to update the costs for the associated dam and infrastructure. And at this point, the tribe is working on settlement legislation. So we've actually drafted a bill, and we're working with Congressman McCarthy, Senator Padilla, and Senator Feinstein's staff to finalize that language. And one of the questions that came about, since these letters of support are so old, is if we could get updated letters to show that we still have support in the surrounding community for our efforts here.
Thank you very much for that information. Okay. Thank you. Council, did you have any questions? Is there something that you would like to bring to the table?
I'd like for the council to consider the draft resolution of the support for Tule River Tribe's federal water settlement, and draft resolution of the water settlement legislation, and draft letter of support to Senator Feinstein and Congressman McCarthy, and resolution, and a letter of support for the Tule River Tribe water legislation in September 2006, and the Tule River Tribe water rights settlement of November 2007, and 2009 HR 1945 Tule River Water Department Development Act.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, and Councilmember Reyes?
Well, I just had a comment, and sorry, I should have commented before there was a motion.
I'm going to second for that comment.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the vice chairman for coming and giving the comments, as well as legal counsel. And in his words, his compelling words, he used the word savages. I think the most savage thing about this is the time and resources this has taken from the tribe. You go way back to the potato farm that was supposed to be a 50-50 endeavor that was denied to the tribe. You go back to the flour mill that was supposed to grant the tribe flour, that they were denied after digging the ditch to supply the water. There's a long history of delays, and if a kind gesture, a simple gesture of updating our letters is something that can keep the relationship in good standing, I'm all for it. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any more other comments to that regard? Because we have a motion, we have a second. Did you have any comments, Councilmember Tate?
I heard the tribal attorney talk about letters of support from the community. Was I correct in that way? Could our citizens be writing letters of support?
Yes, we would just like anybody that would want to support us to write any letters. The more letters, the better. Yeah, and it'd be appreciated. We're very grateful people still. So, standing there for you guys, I'm standing there for my whole tribe, not for just myself. And I thank you guys with all my heart and all my people's hearts that you guys are willing to take a chance and do this for us.
I'm going to make a comment because we already have a motion and we have a second. And I said I was humbled by the visit up there the other day with the walking audit and the team, and how the drought has impacted the tribe. And to hear that they have the high nitrate levels, but during that participation, how a lot of the tribal council, not tribal council, but a lot of the people who live on the reservation are affected with asthma, valley fever, and a lot of illnesses because they don't have the sustainability for the water and because the lands are very dry.
Yeah.
And so they are suffering in health to that regard. So if there are no other comments, we have a motion and I did the second. The comments have been, let's call for the vote.
Councilmember Tate,
Aye.
Councilmember Reyes,
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe,
Aye.
Mayor Flores.
Aye, it passes unanimous,
Thank
4-0.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night and thank you. All right, we will need the vice mayor back in here for the next item.
We have two more items, right? I'm gonna get to them. Okay. Jason has cold water for me. Thank you, Jason. I just need something cold up. Go ahead.
All right, let's go on with item 14.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next item in order is a consideration of the Tulare County Association of Governments Public Transit Representative, as explained in the staff report. There's currently an alternate position available, but soon the representative position is going to become available as well. That's currently held by Farmersville Council Member Greg Gomez. So this is a position that serves on the Tcag board with full voting rights as mandated by federal law. It needs to be an elected official from an agency that provides fixed route transportation, which all 5 board of supervisors already sit on Tcag. So this then by default is a member of a city council. And those that provide fixed route are generally limited to Porterville, Tulare, Visalia. Given lack of, and typically the city of Porterville has been had a representative there previously by Councilmember Cam Hamilton as well as by Councilmember Gruola. So there's going to be a process that goes before the Council of Cities that will occur at its next meeting in May. That will be to appoint from amongst the cities who would serve as the representative to the Tcag board as well as the alternate. And you had both Vice Mayor Carrillo as well as Councilmember Tate express interest in these positions. Happy to provide any information. And so the recommendation would be the City Council consider the appointment, the nomination. It's not going to, the Council of Cities will be making the appointment, but consider those nominations to the Council of Cities.
Thank you very much. So we have the 2 council members. One would be for the member and one would be for the alternate. How does council wish to proceed on that?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think, as you mentioned, Vice Mayor and Councilman Tate would be interested. I don't know which one would like to be the representative, the other alternate, but I'd like to make a motion in that case.
I am interested in being an alternate, primarily because I will be coming up for election, and you are seated here for a while. So, but I would like to be considered as an alternate.
Your Honor,
Yes?
just a point of clarification. Are we, I didn't see it. Are we nominating them to be put on the slate and then the cities would choose the representative and the alternate, or are we selecting them for each of those roles?
It will go to the Council of Cities with the member who wants to represent as a full member, and then an alternate.
So formal approval is made by the body itself.
Yes, it will go to the Council of Cities for formal approval, but it's just to submit the names for the position and for the alternate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have a motion?
I did.
You wanted clarification, okay. And your motion is, once again,
Vice Mayor be
the member representative?
And Councilwoman Tate to be the alternate.
Alternate. Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. No further discussion. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Tate,
Aye.
Councilmember Reyes,
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Aye.
Mayor Forrest.
Aye. Thank you. It passes unanimous 5-0. We will now go to item 7 that was pulled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Final scheduled matter this evening was number 7 on the consent calendar, which is the intent to set a public hearing to consider annual adjustment of fees by applications in the Engineering News Record Cost Index. Items pulled at the request of Councilmember Stowe. Happy to answer any questions, provide the staff report.
First of all, I'm going to apologize. I'm running in and out. I had chemo today. It's making me a little nauseous, so just bear with me for a few more minutes. I'll let you get out of here. Mr. Neely brought us something that I just wanted to look over and do some due diligence on, and which might not be a bad idea with the square footage in the pocket parks, but I just wanted to know that, if you would look at this item yourselves and maybe come back with some ideas and something that we can do. I mean, we're way behind in other cities. I mean, compared to other cities, I should say, way behind in this. And our developers says, that won't buy houses, but they're buying houses other places, and they'll buy here. If we need to catch up on our park facilities and things so we can pay for them and not having to go for grants all the time and do it ourselves. So that's just the one thing I would. Thank you. And I'd like to make a motion to consider it.
Okay, we have a motion on the table,
I'll second that.
and we have a second. Any further discussion?
I have a question for clarification.
Please.
Is the motion to put the item back on the scheduled matter?
Yes, for
Okay.
public hearing.
Thank you.
No further discussion? No other questions? Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Tate,
Aye.
Councilmember Reyes,
Aye.
Councilmember Stowe,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Carrillo,
Aye.
Mayor Forrest.
Aye. Passes unanimous, 5-0. We will now move on into oral communications. Is there anyone that would like to come forth under oral communications?
Greg Meister, 1160 Gene. That locally owned CTL, they came in last city council meeting. They're a locally owned business. They've been here since 1976. And they're having issues with paperwork. We got to back these people. We got to support our locally owned businesses and give them another opportunity to fill out this application. It sounds like to me that the online application is new to some of these business owners and they're struggling with it. And so we need to adjust accordingly to support our locally owned businesses. My next thought is on North Lombardi off of Westfield and Westwood. I got to see a proposal of a map drawing, and I seen that West Nancy Avenue is laid in a way for future homes, which I think is a great thing. We need them here in this town. With that being, that's going to add another 300-400 homes in that area. I think at the end of North Lombardi, we could do better and make more exits. So something that I think would be a good idea is on West Bryan Lane, if it went all the way through
to North Westwood. And then at the top of North Lombardi, my question is, will the road continue to West Castle Avenue? And that would give 2 more exits out of this area. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there someone else that would like to come forth under oral communications? Do we have anyone on virtually?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. We will now go on to other matters. Councilmember Tate?
Yes, I'd like to thank you all for attending this evening. And mentioning that you take time away from your families to be here and participate, and it's appreciated. I went out on Easter. We just were out taking a drive, and I was noticing how beautiful the weather is here this time of year, and how grateful I am to grow up in this area and into this little town. We're all connected somehow, some way. We all have a connection. We all know one another, directly or indirectly. I started thinking back about this time last year and where we were at and where we are now. Our businesses are up and going. Our events are being approved and planned. No one's ever going to make me feel bad about trying to help people and trying to save lives. And so that's my whole point there. I'm glad that this stuff, and hopefully it'll stay behind us as far as this horrible virus that has affected so many people. Some of us have lost people that are near and dear to us, family and friends. And so it's good to be here. It's good to have our public here. And I enjoy I appreciate the participation on Zoom. Now, every time I participate in one of these meetings, I go home and I listen to the meeting again. I listen to all of your comments all over again, because oftentimes I think of things that I could have said or should have said, and so I listen back, and I'm noticing that we're getting a lot of views. So I know that we do have people that are there that are interested in what's going on with the city, with the issues that we have, the things that we're doing to try to resolve them. And so that made me feel good. It makes me feel good to know that people notice the good and then some of the other problems too. And I took a drive out to Lombardi and got out and walked around, and I took some pictures. And know that from what I know, the city is limited as far as what they can do to resolve the problem. And everything is up in the air right now as far as being able to do something to help the community out in that area. This charter school was built, I did some research, more than 10 years ago, 2006. And the city was not really very supportive of it at that time from some of the notes that I've reviewed. And I know that we're in conflict because that's county property. And so I would recommend that you also talk to the county supervisors. So anyway, I digest, or I regress. But I do want you to know that I think we're in a better place now than we were a year ago. And we pay attention to what you say. It matters. And it matters that people can participate with us virtually, so that that way you can get the best of both worlds. From time to time, I've had to do the same. And it's better to be participating in this way than not. And, we're becoming a high-tech world. And I was talking about it earlier today. I learned how to use some of this virtual some of these systems just because I had to do a lot of medical appointments that way. I don't know about other people. So anyway, thank you for everything. Thank you for your participation. As far as the remarks that were made by our local businessman regarding his feeling of being left out, when we started the COVID roundup, we only had a few businesses that we were actually, and the big issue is we took a survey of what the public's needs were. And after the businesses were closed and people were unable to work and they didn't have much of an income, the priority was food. And I noticed that all of the businesses that were mentioned were all revolving around food. We didn't start out with all of that because we started it as a pilot project. And we wanted to see how successful it would be. And I volunteered probably about 12 hours that first day that we did this roundup. And we had such an amazing response that as time passed, we kept reevaluating, adding more businesses, because all the money went right back into our local community. And I've been a customer of that jewelry store and a friend to the man who was here for many, many years. I've bought lots of diamonds from him. But I can't eat diamonds, and so we had to prioritize. So I just want to make that point. So anyway, and I want to thank the city staff for all the preparation and all the work that they go through to prepare the agenda for us and all the supporting documents that are provided. And it's very detailed, it's organized, and this city runs like a small business, actually a pretty large one. And there's a lot of people that are dependent on us, including, and most importantly, our residents who live here. So I want to thank you all, and I can't think of anything else. Thank you.
Councilmember Reyes?
Thank you, Your Honor. I also want to thank those in attendance and on Zoom who made public comment, taking time out of their evening to let us know their thoughts. And in particular, the resident from Dexter who articulately displayed the situation that she's living under. And that's an example, I think, a prime example of how things are supposed to work. The resident contacted me with very constructively with a question, and I engaged staff to find out the information and relayed that to the resident. And after my inquiry and the very constructive comments that the resident gave, I think that exemplifies how the public can become informed and give a constructive feedback to the council, and it just shows the way that things should be done. So I encourage folks to engage council constructively, because a lot of times that is how things become accomplished. And also, I'll see everyone at the parade. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I have a few that I wanted to acknowledge. So first of all, while the vice chairman's still here, obviously I had to leave, but I do know about the work that's been going on with the water settlement and just the tribe obtaining the water rights back. So I just wanted to acknowledge that those efforts and just say that I'm really proud of the tribe, the tribal council, the elders, the water consultants, the attorneys. I know that our legal counsel for the tribe, Charmaine McDermott, has done a lot of work over the years, and numerous tribal councils. So it's been a long time, a lot of effort, a lot of travels over the years to Sacramento and DC and and just different considerations. So I'm very proud of the efforts and the position that the tribe is at this point. The next item I wanted to bring up is that this week I was fortunate enough to be able to attend a Porterville Police Department pinning ceremony. It's actually the first one that I've been able to attend in person. I believe it's only the second one we've been able to hold in the last couple of years due to COVID. So I felt very fortunate. That day we pinned, the family member pinned one officer, Officer Trevor Smythe, and he came from the Ridgecrest Ridgecrest Police Department, and it was kind of a lateral transfer, so he just came in. And the really cool thing was that he was pinned by his brother, who's also a Porterville police officer. So that was really good to see and be a part of, and just witness him getting that with his new brothers in the department, but also his family sitting here as well. I also want to thank the Library Commission for the report. That's really good news on the temporary library opening. I know that everything's taking longer because to order the items, to build anything, just everything takes longer. So it's going to be good to hear the opening date and be able to have families and children enjoy the library. And then just continue to look forward to working on our permanent library facility. The next thing I wanted to mention was a couple of weeks ago, the city helped collaborate with a 5K at the Tule River Parkway. And that event, actually, this is only the second year, and I attended both years to support, but also just be active and try to, be active with the community. I love to do things like that and participate with the community. But it was, surprisingly, the event was sold out. So there was so many people on that trail. The parking lot was packed. So that was really good to see. And one of the reasons they have this is to promote the gardens that are out there and all that work's being done by volunteers and school groups and things like that. So it's a really great event, but also a really nice trail that they're trying to beautify and just make it more user-friendly and safe for people to walk on that trail. The next item I just wanted to mention, because I pulled it, was for the Fallen Heroes Wall. And I'm a part of that committee, so I fully support the policy that's being presented. But I just think that it's such an important item, that Fallen Heroes Park, the wall there, what we're trying to acknowledge, and putting that policy together will tell how we're going to do that, how the people will be incorporated onto that wall and be honored there. So I just would like it to go on to a scheduled matter for the purpose of having the discussion with council so they could review the policy and just ask any questions or have feedback. And with that, that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow I'll be attending the Homeless Task Force meeting, but I just want to highlight, as some of you were in attendance, I said that I was going to be reaching out to the sheriff with regard to the homeless population who are arrested and released. Well, bottom line is, we both asked each other the same question: what do you want me to do about it? Well, what do I want you to do about it? And it's what I put an emphasis on. He has to follow the rules that are in place with the law that is in place when they release. So that, I just wanted to share that I did reach out to him, and we had a good conversation from that, and go from there. I want to thank staff who have been very proactive and providing us with a lot of information, and I'm very grateful that you did attend the badge pinning, Vice Mayor. And over the years, that's the first one I've missed in many years, but I've attended all of them, as well as when the fire department. I'm looking forward to that in the future. So when they do have the badge pinning for the firemen who were hired and didn't have the opportunity to do the things during COVID, that pretty much concludes what I have to say. Mr. Lawless.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of items. First, speaking of Task Force on Homelessness, found out today, and maybe I'll let Mr. Ridenhour share it, about the WIP grant.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Lawless. Yes, so we found out today that from the Workforce Investment Board that we partnered earlier this year on an application for the WAF-10 grant called Employment to Careers to assist individuals who are experiencing homelessness to obtain employment and employment provided by partners as well as the city of Porterville, and we were awarded that grant. So I want to many thanks to the partners throughout the community, the Workforce Investment Board for always being a good partner and being the lead agency on that application, and the continued
Thank
support of
you.
council.
Good job on
What's
that.
what's the grant amount, Jason?
Yes.
You know, on the information I was provided today, they didn't list an amount that we were granted.
Yeah, I think it had been 50,000, had it not initially?
I believe it was a little bit more than that, but it was around that.
Yeah, so this was so those that are at the Navigation Center could do community cleanup efforts and things of that nature with parks and public works. So good news in that regard. Also, earlier this evening, Chief Costello was in Lindsay as former lieutenant, now chief of Lindsay, was being sworn in. So
Yes.
I had to be here, but I sent notes ahead to
Good.
my colleague Joe Tanner as the city manager, and also to new chief Carrillo over there. The vice mayor spoke about the Tule River Parkway. Arbor Day is going to be before your next meeting on April 29th, and we're going to be doing tree planting on the Tule River Parkway. So council certainly invited to come and participate in that on 1 o'clock that afternoon. And then just 2 points. Longtime city employee and deputy city manager Gary Irish passed away this weekend, as I shared with the council. So, and his son Glenn Irish also had served as fire chief here. So certainly, you know, there's a plaque in Gary's, Mr. Irish's memory, or the history he had here in City Hall in our square here, and so certainly thoughts with the Irish family. That. And then also Mayor Rudy Mendoza from Woodlake had a heart attack last week, and he's hospitalized. So we sent flowers along to the hospital in his continued care. So
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. Be there no further. It is 8:39. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.